What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Cosmic Wonder. We have some more information today about the set of Avengers Doomsday. And thanks to a new report by Unbox PhD, the same account that has been taking all of the set photos previously, we might have a more accurate idea of how Avengers Doomsday is going to end. And it looks like the TVA is going to play a massive role in how it all goes down at the end. Now, a few days ago, Unbox PhD reported that they are building a big spaceship on the set for Avengers Doomsday. This news was revealed on top of the leaked set photos that we've already seen, with a bunch of craters on the ground on the set that they currently are building. These craters seem to be from debris and destruction hitting the ground, most likely during the incursion between our Earth and whatever other Earth we are going to run into. I believe it's the X-Men universe, and that's how the X-Men get to our universe. Or maybe it's the universe where Doctor Doom is from, and maybe the X-Men universe and the universe Doctor Doom is from are the same. Maybe they come from the same one. Even though we are getting quite a bit of information about Avengers Doomsday, much of it is still a mystery. However, when I first heard that they were building a spaceship for this particular set piece right here, the one that has all the craters in it, I originally thought it might be for a life raft. In the 2015 Secret Wars comics, the two universes that are colliding are the main 616 universe and the Ultimates 1610 universe. Both Reed Richards of each universe build a ship to get out of the incursion and to basically get out of their universe being destroyed. Those ships are called life rafts. And it would make sense that we would see them in this movie. Considering the multiverse is going to be destroyed, it would make sense that somebody like Reed Richards would try to find a way to escape the incursion. However, after learning a little bit more information, I don't think that this is the case. Unbox PhD has seen what the spaceship design is going to be for what they are building. They have not managed to take a photo of this yet because it is going to eventually go onto the set that we've already seen, the one with all of the craters, and in a new video, they revealed the design. Now, they drew this themselves, obviously, because they haven't managed to snap a photo yet, but they have seen the actual design on set. And this does not look like a life raft from the comics. Now, of course, they could change it for the MCU, but I don't think that's what this is. At least not in its entirety. It could be a ship from the X-Men universe that is meant to go to our universe. That would make a lot of sense. In fact, I do think that's what this ship is going to be. But I don't think that's how they evade the multiverse destruction. We'll talk about that in a bit. The spaceship, I do believe, is probably from the other universe that is about to collide with ours. Because here's the thing, based off of what we know from the comics, when two universes start to have that incursion and you see that other world appear, there's a handful of hours between the appearance of that other Earth and the actual collision of both Earths. So there is some time to send a spaceship to the other Earth, and they now exist essentially kind of at the same point in space-time. So usually these two universes are separate. Take the universe that we see at the end and in the post-credit scene of The Marvels. Monica Rambeau ends up in a different universe. Well, you can't just travel through space and all of a sudden get to another universe. That's not how it works. When you travel through space in one universe, you stay in that universe. You have to be able to jump through the multiverse in order to get to a different universe. But when an incursion happens, that is not the case. You could simply go from one Earth to the other. That is actually what we see in the beginning of the 2015 Secret Wars story. Two Earths are colliding and we see heroes from each planet go to the other, and they basically fight for their lives, for their planet. And I believe we're going to get something pretty similar in Avengers Doomsday. Yes, I do believe we will get some type of a fight, an Avengers versus the X-Men fight. At least I hope we do. But ultimately, Kevin Feige has told us that the original X-Men are going to team up with the Avengers and the Thunderbolts and all the other teams, and they're all going to go up against Doom. So even if we get a fight in the beginning, of course, they're eventually going to team up. So I think, let's just say it's the X-Men universe. I think the X-Men universe is about to collide with ours, so they send a ship over to ours once our Earth is in sight to basically talk about what to do. And that's the kicker. Once an incursion starts, the only way to save your planet is to destroy the other. And that's probably where the disagreement and possibly the fight comes into play. If not, I'm sure they might start fighting right away when kind of an alien spaceship arrives on their planet. But ultimately, I don't think they choose to destroy one planet. I'm not sure anybody actually has the capability of destroying a planet. Iron Man isn't around anymore. Tony Stark isn't. Who knows what technology Stark Tech has right now, and I don't think Riri Williams would have the technology to destroy a planet either. Perhaps Magneto could do something with the magnetic poles of the Earths, but I don't know if he can destroy an entire planet. So that means both planets will get destroyed. And ultimately, the entire multiverse will be destroyed as well. And if they're not escaping through life rafts, how are they escaping? Well, that's where the TVA comes into play. The TVA exists outside of space-time, and we've heard a report from Alex Perez at thecosmiccircus.com, who has a great track record with reports, that it all leads to the TVA, and we've actually heard some other insiders say that as well. From what we know, Doom is going to be seeking out the TVA and Loki, and based off of what we've heard, there is going to be a huge multiversal battle at the TVA. Now keep in mind, the TVA is a lot bigger than we've really seen. Think back to Loki season 1, where Loki is walking down the hall. There's an entire ginormous city in the TVA. It's not just the halls and the rooms that we've seen in Loki season 1 and 2, it's ginormous. So imagine that city that we saw in the background, a big multiversal war taking place there, with variants throughout the entire multiverse coming into play. And you know that scene's gonna be absolutely gnarly. And I'm sure we'll get some crazy cool cameos from some really big actors and really big characters from Marvel history. But what happens if the TVA gets destroyed? Based off of what we saw in Loki season 2, it can very well get destroyed and the people inside of it die. But there is one place that they can go where they wouldn't be affected by the destruction, and that is the Void, which is where ultimately I do think Battleworld is going to be. I think Battleworld will simply be the Void. I've said this before, but in Deadpool and Wolverine, Cassandra Nova said that she was going to destroy every universe in the multiverse until there was nothing left but the Void. Well, that's basically what we're going to get. If the multiverse gets destroyed, that means every universe is going to be destroyed, but the Void should still be there. So Dr. Doom, with whatever powers he gets, whether a Beyonder shows up and he takes the power from the Beyonder, whether he has Kang technology, which is essentially multiversal technology, and his master over sorcery, whatever power he has, he ultimately is going to end up creating Battleworld, or shaping it at least. But really the only way to get to the Void that we know of, that we've been shown so far in the MCU, is to go through the TVA and kind of essentially prune yourself. Or Loki. Loki was able to open a portal at the end of Loki season 2 there to go outside of the TVA, to go outside of space and time to where He Who Remains was existing, outside of the multiverse, outside of even the TVA. So right now Loki sits on the throne of the multiverse, essentially holding it together, and Doom is going to want what Loki has. Doom is going to be trying to save the multiverse, but in true Doom fashion, he's going to try and save it the way he believes is right, which I'm assuming is going to be a way that the Avengers and the rest of the heroes don't agree with. That's why they're fighting him. But ultimately at the end, it does look like it's all going to go down at the TVA, but Doom will eventually come out on top. He will get to Loki and he will basically take over. And instead of having a multiverse, he will have one world ruled under Doom, a world that he creates and a world that he is a god to. So, while I did originally believe that the spaceship that's been reported on for Avengers Doomsday was going to be a life raft, I don't think that anymore, especially since we are hearing reports that everything goes down at the TVA at the end. I think that's how they survive the multiverse destruction, by simply going outside of the multiverse via the TVA, via Loki. So I think the ship is probably for one superhero team to go to the Earth of the other of the two Earths that are having incursions. I assume the other Earth is the X-Men universe, and that's how we get the X-Men with the Avengers in Avengers Doomsday. But it all goes down and Doom wins at the end. But go ahead, let me know your thoughts about this in the comments down below. Please don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you don't miss out on any of the latest Marvel news, rumors, or leaks. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And as always, thank you all so much for watching. Woof woof.